Shall I just get like really, really close to the microphone? No, I refuse to do an ASMR intro. Hello, guys. So hopefully you can hear a difference in the audio quality. I finally made the leap to buy a proper audio setup. I bought a interface last week, mainly for my guitar. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't buy it for the streams. And then I bought a microphone and the stand and shock absorber, all that stuff. Bought that today. So I'm not using a almost 10-year-old webcam anymore for my audio. So hopefully it's a lot better. If the levels are wrong, like if I'm really quiet or really loud, let me know, because I've tested it on my end, but I've tested it with recordings, not with streaming. I don't know if there's a difference. Also, you'll probably notice quite a big difference when I turn my head. So I'm currently facing the microphone. Now if I face the left screen, it will probably get quite a lot tinnier. We're not starting our own ASMR chat. I refuse. My voice is way too nasal for that to work anyway. But yeah, so anyway, off stream. So this is where we left off the last stream. So I have done a bit of work off stream. Becca, stop it. Hey, little man. It's a little bit low. Okay. Is that better? Is that better now?
Can you hear?
I've added a little bit. What I'm gonna have to do is get some Tipex and like mark, because there's no numbers on the interface. It's just a dial. Yeah, is it better now, guys? I don't know.
There'll be a delay.
Yeah, there will be a delay. I don't know how big the delay is, though. I also don't know how loud I need to speak. Also, Becca, try speaking, see if I can hear you.
Stop.
You gotta speak normally so they can hear you. No? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. It's better now. Cool. But yeah, so this is where we left off on the last stream. I have done a little bit of work. It will look like a big difference, but it's really not that much of a change, to be honest. So this is where we left off. I had subsurface and everything turned on. It was just set. It was set to like literally 0.5 centimeter of distance, which is obviously wrong. So off stream, I did a little bit more. The eyes look super weird. This is partially because there's no eyelashes yet. I'll get back to that later. But yeah, so all I've done is I've added, I think I've made the subsurface distance like 8 times greater, so it's now 4 centimeters, which may be too much. There's still no maps driving it. Oh, they can hear both of us, so they can hear you as well. I think the audio on your side might be a little bit tinnier, just because the back of the microphone's facing you. But yeah. Also, I hope you guys prefer the quality. If you prefer the if you prefer the webcam, then I'm stopping streaming. But yeah, so.
I'll take it.
What, you'll take my web?
Streaming, duh.
The streaming, God. But yeah, so I've massively increased the distance. It may be too much. I've still not got any maps to drive it, so obviously we need to paint out areas like the brow where the bone is a lot closer, like here as well. Paint out a little bit around the eyes just to soften it, or not soften it, but actually harden it, I guess, just to reduce the amount of subsurface. Other than that, I've done 2 other things to the skin shader. I've got the diffuse map, remapped it to add a small amount of bump. You probably won't see it on these renders, but basically on these there's a super small amount of bump that is on the color map. It's not making a huge difference, but it does do stuff for these guys. Obviously they get softened back out by the increased subsurface. But yeah, I've got a little bit of bump. You can kind of see it on the eyebrows. You see how there's like a little bit of a highlight on the right side. It's super subtle. I don't want it to be anything more. And I've also remapped the color map to use. So I've also remapped the color map to use as a specular map. So this was like pure white value, and this is with a black and white version of the color map as spec. So it's obviously softened everything way out. Other than that, nothing really to the skin shader. I tweaked the eye a little bit. I've added some more saturation. Literally just literally just changed the saturation with a Pixar color correct node, so it's super simple setup wise, and I've added some displacement to the veins, but again it's literally just color map remapped, and you won't see it at this distance anyway. Still need to figure out why the water is rendering black. It's really starting to bother me quite a lot.
Renderman.
What?
What are you using, Renderman?
Renderman, yeah. Yeah, it should be fine. Like the ray depth is set at 4 bounces, which isn't huge, but at the same time it should be enough for blackness to be gone. Because obviously it's exponential. Like with each layer you're adding, it's a smaller and smaller change. So, But yeah, other than that, I think I changed the gold slightly. Not in this render apparently. Oh wait, does that mean I lost my jewelry changes? I think I did. Okay, cool. But yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna just get on with it, I guess. So we're gonna go back into Mari today and just do a little bit more work on the color map. I need to get the ears brighter again, and let me just get the reference up as well. In fact, let's go to the correct place to get this. PRF. Demon dog outside.
She's definitely walking a dog a lot more.
Oh, she is, yeah.
Isn't she?
So yeah, one of the things I was saying earlier is how so with the extra subsurface, obviously it's adding like a bit of a glow to the eyelids, but it's actually a lot closer now. Like if you look, if you ignore the hair, you actually can see there's like a little whiter ridge, and we didn't have that before. Now we have it, and it's super glowy below, which looks wrong without the groom, but actually it's doing the same here. I think just once we add the groom, that will block that visually and it will work a lot better. So I'm not too worried about that looking super weird at the moment. Although I do need to paint maps and glossiness maps to do like this. I also need to sculpt the eye, sculpt just around the eye. But yeah, I think overall it's getting relatively strong. It's the color map's not right here. Like the color map has some information in it, so that's the sort of stuff we're gonna fix. Oh, and I've also put like a super proxy shader. Like it's just a flat color on the caruncles. But yeah, so I'm gonna put this on my other screen. Come on. One other thing that we have to do as well is the reference is a lot more orange, but I don't think it's a texture thing. I think it's a lighting thing. Because everything is super orange, like the whites even are super orange. So I have a feeling that it's quite a lot coming from the lighting. So yeah, we'll get to that. And the eyes need a ton of work, but again, I kind of want to wait until I've got the groom in place before I work too much on the eyes, just because it will change the shadowing and that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I'm going to shut up now, and let's get into Mari. Mari non-commercial. How's everyone doing? Is everyone okay, or? Hope everyone's doing fine. Right, so what do we need to do? I'm going to keep the hair in for a while, just until I've got to the point of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to keep the hair in until I've got to grooming, basically. Oh no, John said something. Doing class. All right, cool, thanks.
Doing class.
Yeah. Doing Klesla?
That was the worst impression.
I wasn't trying to do the accent, I was trying to read that phonetically. I can't do accents, I don't even try accents anymore. Did you message the chat? Because it's not gone through yet.
Yeah.
Alright, cool, I'll wait for Becca's message to come through. Right, so let's go to painting Egypt. Do you mean idiot? Right, so let's turn off edge mask. So I'm going to paint out those markers at the top, because I think they're what is bothering me most at the moment. And I need to lighten the ear quite a lot. I'm also going to go around, I'm going to paint out the seams of the ear before I lighten it, because obviously it'd be kind of dumb to not do that. I also need to fix this. Is that in my renders? Oh, it just hides. Alright, cool. Well, we're going to have to fix that as well. Yeah, so today's just kind of going to be like a texture fixing kind of day. Nothing too major is going to happen, to be honest. So let's go into the projection, image manager, and let's use the low res, just because it has the information that I need, and we can always up-res it after the fact. I just need to size these.
Yes.
Cool, so that's roughly correct. You okay?
I got that no thing set up. So happy.
Also, if anyone in this chat is kind of new to the whole Mari and Substance Painter thing, and you're wondering why Mari is still used, this sort of work is exactly why it's still used. Substance Painter has tools to do this sort of stuff, but they're just... Substance Painter is really great for hard surface and matte baking. In fact, I think it's probably the best matte baker there is. But whenever I hear people say, oh, it's just better than Mari, I cringe, because it's really not. They're not the same thing. Granted, one day they will be. And I have a license of Substance Painter for the exact reason that it's way better than Mari in, you know, quite a few aspects. But it's just the projection tools. The projection tools that this has are just better. That is the one thing where objectively I don't think anyone really disagrees on that. So I baked that. Oh, I should probably check the layer that I'm in. I think I was in that layer. That's good. Although we have fucked up this bit, so let's repaint that. It's a little bit too dark. There we go. Yeah, Mari's really cool, man. If you get a chance to learn Mari, learn it. I feel like it's one of those tools where every character artist should know Mari to some extent. I feel like it's not career suicide by any means, because it is quite rare to see students with a knowledge of Mari, but, you know, I mean, obviously texturing guys will, you know, they'll be very keen on people having knowledge of this tool, because it's pretty much necessary. Right, we can do that with a high res. We can probably do that with a high res. So it's at a bit of an angle, so we're going to have to pick a section of skin. Let's get something that's roughly the same size. There we go. And let's just it's a bit much. Let's try that. We might have to clean that up with something else. You getting a new machine? Yeah, it'd be really good. If you want to learn Groom, feel free to drop me a message, man.
Is it John?
Yeah, John. He's getting a computer.
Da, da, da.
Don't make it sound like a horror film.
Let me know. 'Cause
If he needs what?
colour.
Collab.
Design.
That is not good.
Rude.
No.
Where's that ruthless?
Let's get the super soft for that as well.
Oops.
This is where having multiple texture sets is really helpful. I might have to go to the low res again for this one. Or I can use the ever helpful XYZ map. I just need to make sure I paint this into the correct layer. So let's go into node graph, and then where is it? There it is. So we can just use this to kind of get more even skin tone. Let's do the same on this side. We've also got some texture stretching which I need to fix. I need to learn the shortcuts. Oh, that's not good. What's going on there? super dark. Okay, let's ignore that then. Right, so we got rid of the markers. Not perfectly, but well enough, I think. So her skin's quite blotchy, so it might not work overly well for what I'm about to try, but it's too dark as well. I need to color correct it again for just the forehead area. Because I've corrected it primarily for the cheeks. I also need to fix behind the ear. Let's do that. Let's fix inside the ear first, actually. Better believe it, I'm gonna fucking haunt your Facebook messages. Yeah, go for it, man. No problem with me. You can see the earwax in this girl's ear. It's kind of grim. So I'm intentionally going to keep it super blurry. Like, I'm not going to have one area power over, and the reason for that is because her skin compared to Twigs is a lot less even. And I feel like if I perfectly project it with absolutely no blurring, it's going to not feel like FKA Twigs in the slightest. So we can do something like that. Although, maybe that area is better. No, not really. Let's use a little bit of this area. There we go. Need to fix that. Soften that in a little bit. There we go. I almost feel like I should have projected through when I was doing the ears. Because now we got all these little crevices to deal with and they're a bit annoying. Let's just fill that. How's it moving over there? I'll just pick a even skin tone area like this one. But no, it's not really going to work. I feel like I might just take a section of the ears as a texture. I have to remove that hair as well. This area works pretty well. Normally don't like painting with shadows turned on, but in this case I wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. I guess I could turn on wireframe. That might help. Although I'm sculpting on the high res, so maybe it won't help. Let's just try setting this to flat. This is my raw texture with absolutely no lighting information. There is a little bit of lighting information in the texture itself, which isn't ideal. Really need to figure out a fix for that. Let's fix this. Need to fix this horrible banding that we got going on here. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to fix that, to be honest. May have to use the high res to kind of paint that out a bit. Let's finish ears though first. I'm going to need lighting information for this. There we go. So let's fix this seam. Well, it's not really a seam, is it? I'm not really sure what you'd call this. Kind of is a seam, it's just a bad projection, really. Doing that helps. Just getting rid of the, you know, having the inside of the ear on top of the ear. It's obviously not what we physically have, so. And then let's go for you. Let's pick a better area for that. Let's fill out the back of the head. I think I was using like the neck and cheek area to do most of this stuff, which is why you got the same spots popping up over and over again. I will be going around and painting the spots out at the end. Something going on there. I'm going to switch to the other side of the neck. Get a bit of variation up, but it's too textural. But it's okay. Maybe when I was getting textures I should have got someone with darker skin and slightly more even skin tone. I bought this one because it was half price, not because it was the best suit. But I didn't really want to spend more than $20 on some textures for a stream. Maybe I should have been using the earlobe this whole time. Something going on here. There we go. So let's fill in. I'm going to use the earlobe to fill in back here as well. Maybe this part of the earlobe. Ideally, really, in a production environment, you'd have reference from this angle. But in this case I'm just going to make do with what I do have available, which is this set of maps and one decent photo. Right, so back of the ears. That's the other ear. So this skin is way too big, obviously, for what I'm doing right now. But I'm not overly worried. I just want to get some nice variation in there. Bigger brush, use a section, then use a different section. Not that one though, maybe that one. Just soften that out. Because I'm doing camera-based projection, you can't always tell if something looks like shit. Like, it can sometimes take quite a while. Seam line. Also, the less brush strokes you can do, the better normally for seams. Waxy. Well, the ear. Yeah, it's pretty grim, right? Top of the ear. What?
After seeing Help the Country, I actively reject wearing masks during the pandemic. I would like to apologise to the filmmakers of every horror movie ever made for calling the characters unbelievably dumb for going into the murder basement.
Let's try. I want to see how this looks. I'm going to turn this layer off. Cool. So I need to fix that with this guy. It's fine with me. At least I've got one of the easier areas. Vaguely like that. And let's just draw out these lines. Got a few seams in there. And a little dark patch here for some reason. Might get rid of that actually. There we go, that's a lot better. I'm not convinced with this bit though. There we go. That'll be a lot better. Right. Should I fix the nose? Let's fix the nose. Let's do that image manager, drag over the high res. So, just check we're still in the right node. We are. So there's the edge of nostril. Let's get a nice representative bit of skin. See, the problem we got here is that this area is definitely got lighting on it. So I guess technically we're supposed to go for a color tone like this one and let the lighting do the rest of the work. Doesn't help that there's noise in the image. Maybe we should blur the image. We need a little bit of something there. There we go. That's an issue. Patch of skin would work best. I'm going to add a redness layer on top to quite a lot of this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get as far as I can just by projecting, but eventually I am just going to have to create like actual manual paint layers and paint the colours that I want, or use procedurals to get the colours that I want and then mask them. For now let's just go with this colour. Then it's going to have to red and then darken it later on. Let's show the UVs. Maybe the UVs are a good place to check for this stuff. That's the nostrils there, I believe. So let's just fill that with a colour. Do the same on this side. I'm not too worried about the actual colour. It's kind of irrelevant to me, to be honest. And let's check back in perspective. There we go. So we just need to remove the seam now. Let's repaint over the inner nostril with that colour. UV. So let's just scale you way up. The noise is going to be maybe a bit much. Let's just do that. Let's see how that looks darkness wise. Well, that's a lot better. Okay, cool. It still needs to be more red, but we can get to that. Cool, now let's get rid of that horrible seam. The ears are a lot better now. Let's get back into the correct texture for doing the ears. Zoom all the way out. Slowly but surely we'll get there. There has to be a quicker way to zoom out, right? Let's get you coloured in. I don't think this skin colour would be fundamentally different from here. I think it's all just shading. So let's just use that. Let's go use that as my fill hole. It might be worth just softening you in a little bit. Although a good chunk of that seems to be coming from the actual geometry. Maybe we got some shading errors over here. Bumpy model or something maybe. That's considerably better than it was though, overall. We just need to fill all the holes. Maybe Ortho UV is the best one to check for this actually. Because we can see holes in the mesh, like that. That's super easy. Where's that area? Is that the back of the head? Top of the head? Nah. Where is that? Oh, it's inside the mouth. Cool. There it is. Let's just do that. That'd be considerably easier. Then you just need this color. Just do that. Same on this side, and we need to fill in that ear quite a lot. Thing is, the blackheads in our ear, because I'm projecting at such a large scale, they'll just more show up like black dots. They won't even show up like black dots, they're just like more tanned regions of a head, or of an inner ear anyway.
Blackheads under here?
Yeah. There's blackheads in our ear.
Where?
Right there, and there, and there, and there, and there.
That could be freckles.
Could be freckles. Could be right. That really, let's check. Oh, that really is just a mesh. Weird. Basic. Okay, so on this side needs doing. So let's just go to this view. And then you. Nice thing with texturing from this view is it's kind of a more complete texture view in terms of like you can see where all the mesh errors are and address them at a texturing stage. If you can make the texture map itself look cleaner, you'll tend to get better results. Obviously the way it looks in a 3D model is the most important aspect, but if it looks good in the UV view, it will tend to look okay in the 3D view. Yeah, so we've got some weird projection stuff happening there, so let's just go here, get you. Just do that. Fix those areas manually. And there we go. So there's another hole in the mesh. Just here? Yeah, thought so. Might start texturing in 2D view a little bit more. There we go. So do we see any glaring errors with our painted map? Let's fix this guy. Let's fix him with the large texture. What did I do? Okay, I've glitched something out. Let me save, close, archive, projects. Let's go into personal projects, FKA twigs, text string, Mari archives, and let's just save it as version 4 or version 1004. But hey Thomas, how you doing? I got a new microphone. I finally don't sound as much like shit. It's great. Well, my voice sounds like shit, but my audio quality is top notch. Top notch. Probably just clips the fuck out of the microphone there, but I don't care. That was fun. There it is. So let's go into the UV view. I love the teeth in the inner mouth. Hey Becca. It's got a little sneaky deaky. Even more soothing. I mean, that's not a hard target to reach, to be honest with my voice. More soothing is still not necessarily soothing. Let's paint that out. Super soft. Just gently paint that in. There we go. And then the lips, I'm just going to quickly paint the lip seam in there. Texture's looking a lot better now. It's really obvious that we've patched something out there though, so we're gonna have to fix that. So how can we do this in a nice way? Let's get a bigger brush for a start. There we go. Big brush is the way to go. That side is kind of obvious too, so let's fix that. Right. Are you doing every subdermal layer? No, I'm not doing a full subdermal setup. I'm literally just gonna project a color map and use that as my subsurface color. I'm not gonna worry about doing you know, the red layer, the yellow layer, and the blue layer. This feels a bit over the top.
Cheap.
Yeah, I want to do this as cheaply as I can, basically. Mainly because I don't understand the workflow. And technically I do, but I don't know how to get it to look good. And I'd really have to pick some brains of much more intelligent people than me to learn that stuff. Let's just correct. I was projecting those in the wrong layer. It's not too big of a deal, but it is a big deal. So now if I hide XYZ skin. Oh, we may have been really lucky. We were really lucky. Okay. For some reason it knew what I wanted to do. Okay. So what I'm going to do at this point is I need to create a lighter layer. So if we go to my renders for a second. So this is the latest render. And if we compare it to, let's just go with that here for now. This one's super dim, and this one's like really saturated red at the bottom and really bright at the top. So I need to do a redness layer, and I need to do a bright layer, so I can manually paint the ears to be correct. I think the best way for me to do it is to literally create like a noise that's super soft and has vaguely these colors, and paint one mask for the bright and one mask for the red. So I'm going to do the redness one first because that's the easiest one to do. I'm really looking forward to doing the groom on this. It's going to be quite a lot of fun. I'm terrified of the braids because I don't want to buy braid maker, but I also don't want to make braids. Let's change the hairstyle. Let's just avoid our problems. Right, so I'm going to create a merge. So this one can be skin redness. Skin redness. And all we're going to do is create a clouds, let's say. Plug that into over. Okay, beautiful. And then we're going to pick some red colors. That one will do for one of them, I guess. And this one will be a something like that, it's okay. Then we're going to reduce the roughness, reduce the size. Let's reduce the roughness even more. There we go, there's our redness layer. So literally all I'm going to do now is create a paint node, set the default color to be no alpha, 4K, raw data because it's a mask, and I'm just going to plug that into mask and call this ISO skin redness. What's her hair like? So the closest image I can find, because obviously we got this image that's cropped, this is the full image, but because of the values you can't really see much, although this high res is fucking amazing for the peach fuzz eyelashes and eyebrows. Like I really can't wait to do those, but for the head you can't really see it. I think looking at this, like, I see a center parting, a lump here, lump here, lump here, and maybe another one there. So the closest haircut I can find to that is this one. That would be the middle lump, second, third, fourth. So I think this is the hairstyle she had. I think she had 4 levels of braids with a braided ponytail thing at the back, but obviously in the case of this one it's been pulled probably to the middle. I don't know if I'll bother doing that. I'll do the braids obviously for the head, but I think at the end I'll just terminate it. We'll see how eager I'm feeling to do it. I'm kind of debating trying to use XNA Interactive for it, because I hate it, but that doesn't give me a good enough reason to not try to use it from time to time. So yeah, we might have to do that. But yeah, so this is the hairstyle that I think we're going to have to do and match it silhouette wise to this. But I think you can do that, because to me, if I can't crop that, so I'm seeing this braid is that one, where it's a bit looser at the bottom, and then that braid is this guy, that braid is this guy, and then this big lump up here is that, I think. If you guys disagree, let me know, because this is entirely like an interpretation type thing. I don't know exactly what hair was doing. You guys have just as much idea as I do. If what I just suggested sounds wrong, then point it out, because I'll very much appreciate it. Right, so let's go into our ISO skin redness. I'm going to paint super soft, and let's just go around and start painting this in. So I'm going to add the where is it? Painting. Let's downsize this a fair chunk. So what do you hate? Could you not hear it because I was too quiet, or because I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to set up the microphone? If you couldn't hear it because I was too quiet, then say so. If that's not the case, then I was talking about how the fact I don't like interactive exchange rooms. Just not my thing. Painting. Let's turn on edge mask. And then let's start painting. Jesus, that's not what I want. What are you doing? What's happened to you? Let's figure out why it's painting super strong. Yeah, I mean, you say you'd love to see the process using interactive. I'm not the person to ask about the process for interactive. Like it's not something that I've really tried to use in a production. You know, I mean, obviously I've not really used action in production either, but in terms of like my process of using it, I've never really pushed interactive through a pipeline. There's a lot of issues with it. I don't really like the UI. I don't really like the way you handle clump modifiers. It seems a bit strange to me. It doesn't seem bad, it just seems weird. And I also think it encourages really bad habits, so I tend to stay away from it. But obviously, you know, I've been grooming for long enough to kind of avoid the bad habits anyway, or at least try to avoid them. Let me find out why this isn't painting. Right, okay. What could this be? Let's see if the blow works. Something super weird.
You?
Probably. It's painting as a solid brush. Do I just need to change this to a different color mode? Let's go into normal. It should be subtle. It's just not. Did you contact All Natrix? Might be a good project to ask for a license. Yeah, I could do. I haven't contacted them, to be honest. What's that?
I thought instead of like open location, I went open now.
Ah. I'm gonna close this and reopen it. Archive it again. So, let's give it another go. Still not working. Okay, let me try plugging you. In fact, let's view this. So the paintbrush itself is working fine. Is this being way too bright? So let's try. Let's just view that again. Okay, why are you breaking? Definitely not copy. Clear, don't want that. Darken. Color burn. Does anyone know why this might be acting weird? Let me try a bake point. Sure. Still not working. Why are you not working? So strange. Let's create a new paint node. That should be fine. Okay, so the paint node itself is working. So that's fine. You are not working. It seems to obey the actual value, it's just it's lost all its softness. Well, at least I can get rid of the break point. I'm pretty sure that's not the problem. Let's disable color space. No, let's not do that. Blending advanced. Oh, that's the way you do the fancy blending stuff. Delete the cache. No, no cache. Let's try creating a noise. Vora noise. Output. Put that into U. Okay, let's create a new merge. Merge no alpha. Give it a go. I don't know if there's any actual difference, but nope, still doesn't work. Alright, so it's not the merge node. I'll try closing Mori. Alright, so let's go over here. Skin redness. Painting maybe. When did you switch to render ban? I never actually went to Arnold in the end. I just never got around to it. Why am I having issues with this of all things? Let's try a color node instead. Color node doesn't work either. There isn't a layer limit, is there, to Mari? Not with the not with this version anyway, the non-commercial. Alright, so all this stuff is set. And I have a person I can message. I don't want a bugger. Ah, oh, right, okay. What else could there be? Let's try putting this there. Okay, so that works. I can paint directly over, but I don't want to paint red. Because that never goes well. It's purely in merging this. Which means the issue is with that node specifically. That's interesting. Why does the alpha do that? Oh, it's because it's just that. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Why is this broken? I really don't just want to paint red on the model. I want to use the ISO workflow because that's so much easier to use in the long run. Alright, let me Google some stuff. Mari. Right, one sec. Mari mask. Landing broken. Nothing there. Are there any other kind of nodes I can... Let's try an oil node. There's just no blending, like, subtlety to it. It's not what I want in the slightest.
Oh my god.
What?
I scrolled down my timeline and it was India photo and I was like, wait a minute, it looks like Gabs, but it was not Gabs.
Oh, really? Alright, so it's not
It's
this.
just the glasses, to be honest, it looks like Gabs.
Oh, you sent me a photo? Does it look like Gabs, to be fair?
Doesn't it?
Does it look like Gabs? Have you sent it to Dave? Oh, what is this bug? What are you doing? What happens if I put this in the other way around? Same thing. This doesn't make sense. Can't be anything with the brushes because I am just painting value of white. What are you doing? Does anyone in the chat have any ideas of things I can check? Because this is dumb. This is really fucking dumb. One sec, guys. Just messaging someone. Right, sent a message to someone. Luckily, I'm friends with someone who's a QA tester for Foundry, specifically on Mari. So I don't like bothering people outside of work for things that they do for work, but at the same time, like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. Super fucking weird. I'm gonna create a brand new merge. So I got my base, that's fine. I create my, let's just create an oil, plug that in, and that's gonna go straight over, and that is fine. Then let's create a paint node, plug you in, and then that goes to 0, that's also fine. Then we paint white, there we go, broken again. What happens if we plug clouds in? Cloud, plug that into the mask, what happens then? So that works. So why isn't the paint node working? View this. I need to send a screenshot. Save as desktop. This is frustrating. Because strictly speaking, this part of the process should be one of the easiest, because literally all I want to do is paint redness on. The values I'm using are too bright, but I've said it doesn't really make a difference, merging wise. I'm going to send this as well. Why is it snipping? Huh. Why is my snipping tool not available? There it is. Save as. So you don't want to use transparency. Oh, okay. So apparently this needs to be paint node. Set this to be full alpha. Moment of truth. There we go. That's what it was. Yeah, I sent her a link to the stream. I think she's just doing something. I felt really bad for bothering her. One sec. Yeah, okay. Sorry for bothering. Right. Okay. So it's literally just the ISO map needs to have a black background. Like it requires it. Right. So now we can get back to actually texturing. You. All praise the friend who I don't think they'd want to be named, so I won't name them. But they know who they are. If you ever see this, thank you very much. Granted, I've already told you on the chat, thank you, but still. So let's go into painting. Turn on the edge mask again, and now let's paint the redness that we want. I'm going to be super subtle in this. I might turn off the mask preview. It's kind of interfering a little bit. There we go. Alright, so let's get the color right. First, let's check the paint. That's okay. Paint black over this. This is where painting ISOs is so helpful, because you can just look at the ISO itself and it's way easier to see where you've put stuff. Like way easier. So let's get the actual redness itself correct. Although I think this isn't far off, but we just need to go a bit more saturated and deeper red. So a little bit more saturation, a little bit deeper. No. There we go, something like that. Maybe that's still not working. This red is too red. So let's look around here. So we need to get some redness, obviously inside the mouth. Nose is fine. I think it's just the ears that we need it, right? There was somewhere else we needed it earlier. The other ear is very extreme. I should probably bring the ref on screen at this point. Oh, wrong click. So obviously the colours are way off, but I think what I might do as well is I might paint to like full value and then just lower the actual opacity of the layer itself, because that's a lot easier to manage in the long run. So let's just get the redness in full force. So we got a little bit there, and then we'll fix the colours as well. A little bit there. And what's this? This really doesn't have much redness to it. Okay, so then let's go into the color. Let's go to the other ear actually. The other ear is easy to see. And then let's get rid of that horrible orange. That is the wrong color. So I think that's a bit better. Color wise, let's go a little bit. Something like that. And then let's lower the overall opacity of this node. Colors need to be way different. Let's increase the size of this one. Yeah, so we got without it. That's really slow. And then with it. That'll help quite a lot. And then we need the lightness for the top of the ears. So skin redness, and then merge. We'll call this one skin light. Well, I guess we should call it skin pale, right? Oh yeah. Probably spelled pale wrong. I wouldn't be surprised by me if I spelled it wrong. Paint. Creative black. That's good. So skin pale. Play. There we go. Pale. And then let's create a cloud. Really like cloud. Oh, for now we don't want the mask in, just so I can get the colours. Cool. And then, are we able to pick? Let's find a patch of pale skin. There. So now we can pick from this viewport. Cool. So there's our pale skin. Needs to be a little bit more orange, I think. There we go. And then let's just find a good opacity for it ahead of time. Something like that looks pretty decent to me. So it just lightens the skin. Should probably change the blending mode as well. Probably set it to lighten actually. And that keeps the details. Let's see if there's any better modes. Lighten, let's try screen. That is not what I want. Color dodge? No. Although if you want to create fire effects, or lava, I guess this is pretty decent. Let's just set it to normal. And set a lower opacity. There we go. Plug this in. Cool. So, you good?
I wrote David replied.
Oh really? What did you say?
I was just like, I got so confused. I scrolled through Facebook and thought, wait,
Gabs?
someone that I know? Dabs' partner, Dabs'
Dabs.
Dabs' partner's pregnant? What? Nope, just look very much alike.
That's the thing. He looks like Gabs, but she looks nothing like his partner.
She's brunette, isn't she? Got short hair.
What? Gabs' partner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she got like a bob, I believe.
David is better looking than Gabs. I mean, they look very similar. I can open these windows because I've got the fan on.
Go for it. Yeah, the fan just interacts with this webcam a little bit too much.
It's quiet. It's so quiet.
That's the thing. This camera's a lot more sensitive, which is a good thing in the long run. Annoying thing sometimes. We need to get a little bit of a hit of lightness here. And a little bit there. And same on this side. I need a little bit of something right there. And I need a little bit of something here as well. This is where learning to hand paint textures is really helpful. So the red's too much, I think. Although her ears are very red. Like really, really red. Like holy shit red. I think they've got my point yet, Becca. 0.5. That's full strength. There we go. To my eyes, that's a lot better. So, let's save that out. Try it in the shader. So I'm going to just go into channels, export flattened, export current channel flattened. Let's go into head, channel, yeah, that's all good. Turn off small textures, which shouldn't affect any of these anyway, because it only affects images that have basically no information in them. It just downsizes the textures to like 2x2 pixel images. Export that. That will replace the existing, that's fine. I've got the old archives if we want to get those back. Then we got CG stuff, projects, personal projects, FKA twigs, texturing, FKA twigs, head, col. Let's just replace these. Actually, let's not do that. Let's just use the texture manager. So RenderMan, tools, texture manager, pick directory. Now let's do it. Alright, cool. So cool. Pick directory. Text string, FK twigs, head, col, and pick that. And just let that do its thing for a moment. While that's going, just save my scene, close my scene, archive my scene. Projects, personal work, FK twigs, text string, Mari archives. They're all done. Cool. So let's save an alt version of the scene and do a IPR render. So we've fixed the eye bleeding thing here. Fixed the seam that it had there. May have to go more extreme on the ear colours, we'll find out. Although to be fair, I'm not lighting it the way it is in the ref at the moment. Needs some more work on the eyes as well. The veins are way too thin. Also, it looks like my cornea is too small. Let me just pick a region. Let's go with... Let's just re-render that area. I'm going to get some water while I wait for that to clean up a little bit, because we are doing subsurface now, so it's a little bit slow. I like your render. I like your render. I was playing Forza earlier, joining games with other players, and people were just like, this dude's like, like they commented on, one of the guys commented on Mike, was like, you sound like you've got loads of controller, because I was like changing the audio levels and all that sort of shit. They were saying, oh, you can hear fans, and I like muted it a little bit. It's just like, having all the controller for stuff is really nice. This is starting to get a bit nicer. My model is lacking quite a lot of definition at the moment. And it's not the subsurface radius, it's actually the model itself. Well, it's not just the subsurface radius. There are obviously other factors. But my model is missing a lot. Like, it doesn't really have this shelf that the actual ref has. Well, I think it's getting to a point where we're not far away from, you know, doing Groom being worthwhile. I think I'll do another pass on modelling in the next stream. I'll continue texturing in this one, just because I don't like chopping and changing that much between those two. I also need to texture the edges of the eyelids a little bit, add the redness there. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. Redness on the eyelids. But yeah, so what was I saying? I just need to continue texturing on this one. Then once I've kind of got a little bit further on texturing, I can go in, do a second pass on the model, get things like the depth of the creases above the eye, get things like, you know, this crease in the ear. I can keep the same UVs, so I don't need to worry about the textures changing. Displacement will need to be rebaked, obviously, but that's not really a big deal. I need to figure out how I'm going to blend the corner of the lips. That's not something for right now, because it's quite a small detail, but I feel like that's one of the million small details that if you get right will really help. Still need to figure out the water shader and why that's rendering black, because literally all I've got at the moment is I've got a mesh. Currently it's a voluminous mesh, but I have tried with a flat mesh or a one-sided mesh, and it's just got diffuse off, reflection off, glass is set to full, or refraction is set to full. It's called glass in here for some reason. So there shouldn't really be any of this blackness stuff. Ray depth is set to 4 diffuse and 4 specular. So although that's not exactly anything close to what you get in real life, it's enough for it to not be black, because it's getting several bounces after the initial hit. So I don't think that's the issue. I'm not entirely sure what the issue could be. I might ask one of the look dev guys and be like, hey, what the fuck? I also need to figure out how to get the subsurface to blend between these two objects. Well, we are getting something here, which is quite nice. This is the render where we left off. And then fixing subsurface like distance and a lot of this stuff really helped. And that's one problem we need to get rid of as well, is currently the creases in the eyelid are actually textured in. I need to remove that. Those creases should be coming from the displacement pretty much exclusively. Right, so I think colour-wise we're not a million miles off. We need to get a little bit more definition in these. Let me try turning subsurface off. Skin, go to subsurface, and I'm just going to set diffuse blend to 100% and start a new IPR. I want to see if we're losing definition in textures just because of that, just because of the depth that we've got in the subsurface, or if we're losing any because of other stuff. I think it's about the same. So we don't need to sharpen up the freckles. Which is fine. Wonder why we are losing so much definition there, because we are projecting the high-res reference. The ones on the nose work a little bit better, but even then they're not sharp enough or dark enough. Weird. Subsurface does a really good job at smoothing this stuff out. It's weird how the subsurface, oh. So it's only subsurface that's doing this. Because the glass blends perfectly. Okay, so that's a clue. Subsurface is what's getting fucked up by it. So maybe it's a continuous object type thing. Or maybe I need to render it as a volume as far as the shader is concerned. Weird. It's looking interesting though. I look forward to when we've actually got a groom in there, get some peach fuzz and all that jazz. We're gonna need to get some darkness in there. So let's turn off diffuse blend. Let's turn on resolve self intersections. Let's see, is there a globals? Enable manifold exploration. Sure. And what about you? Why are they different? Presence cached. Oh, there it is. It's gone from this one though. Why are these lists different? Let's give that an attempt. Save the scene and start a new IPR. Don't need that, but let's reopen it anyway. You can now hear passing ambulances in HD. So, but once we've got subsurface, I need to get rid of that because it's useless to me. Don't think manifold exploration has helped anything. That red is deeper. Oh, it's sampling down to the same level now. There's a bit more stuff going on in here though. Very interesting. Okay, so that's not the thing we need to find though. There we go. Okay, so manifold exploration didn't really help. Glass, advanced. Say to fin, that's apparently not helping. Blocks volumes. Overlapping volumes. Let's give that a go. One thing I don't like about the IPR is it adds this stuff. Okay, so turning off fin was not a good idea. Let's enable manifold walk. IPR. See if manifold walk is able to get anything more out of us. Looks like it might be even darker. Yeah, manifold walk is not the way to go. So let's turn that off, turn fin back on. Let's try this as well. IPR. Okay, I'm going to try changing the model. Let's move that off screen. Okay, run that. We'll probably have to turn off the fin, but let's find out. I sort of see purely what changing geometry does. May work this time. Okay, so fin geometry is what we needed. Okay. So I'm going to turn off fin itself. Because I want to get to the bottom of why it's working. I want to really understand it so that next time I do it, I can just do it without having unnecessary settings. I think that's quite important. So the only difference between these is I've turned fin on or off. I'm gonna let that be fine. Having fin off is definitely the way you want to go about it, just because then you get actually, like, you know, good refractions. And plus it should probably darken it a little bit anyway, just not as much as mine's currently doing. Let's just try rendering a really tiny patch, just to really check that this is. This doesn't look like it's going away. Although that feels okay to me. I can live with that. Obviously we need to model it properly at some point. Right, so before we move on, let's go to the other side. Cool. I also need to name these meshes at some point. Right, so we got that. Back into Mario, I guess. In fact, something I want to do before I do that. So I'm going to move Maya onto the other screen. I'm going to start a IPR. Where's it, right? Cool, got that. So, going to the eye shader. So off screen, all I'm doing is I'm getting the hyper shade. In fact, I can bring that over to the other screen. In fact, it won't actually make a difference. So I've got a ramp that's driving the position of the cornea and how it blends into the sclera. So all I'm doing is off screen. In fact, on screen. Fuck it. I'm just going to move. To get a bit more of a blend. I know these second points don't look like they do anything, but they are actually really important. It glitches without them, so kind of need them. And that's just going to soften this a little bit. So obviously if I pull that all the way up here, we're going to get super hard eye. Because this is basically a blend map, ultimately, is what it is. And if I get rid of this point, it just breaks. It becomes super sharp. I need a other identical point behind it, which is really strange. I need to move that a little bit. So let's move this tiny bit. And move that further back, you a little bit further back. There, we're getting a bit more of that softness now. So I'm going to close that. That feels a bit more organic to me. Let's go through the shader. I'm going to add some roughness to it. Let's just see what this looks like. Horrible is what that looks like. Let's set that to 0. I did have it on 0.1 because 0 roughness doesn't exist. I think I will have a small value on there. What happens if I turn fin on? So I need to add a little bit of a warble to this. I don't know how I can do that. Let's try using an actual ramp rather than this. So let's put that over there. Put you there. Graph this. So here's my cornea ramp, and let's get window property editor. Just dock that here, so I can do it on screen, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm going to get that ramp, and I'm going to replace it with an actual ramp. And then all I'm going to do is set this to be a circular ramp. And let me just check if anything's happening in chat. No, nothing's happening in chat. Cool. There we go. That's a bit better. So get rid of that. Set this to be a circular ramp, and then I can plug this in to RGBR. Cool. And then all I need to do is pull these in and find out where. So apparently it's not working. There we go. So naturally we need to get those exact settings we had before. So let's go back in. That fades out to roughly where we want it. Let's do smooth to get a nicer blend. Okay, that eye is slightly too big. I'm just looking at the angle that it's hitting the upper eyelid, because I know the upper eyelid is straight, so a little bit more than that. Oh, I can type a position in here. Perfect. Let's try 8.5. It's going to be very subtle movements. So, why did I create a ramp rather than use rather than use this ramp here. The reason is because this one, as far as I'm aware, I can't add a noise to the position of it. Whereas this one I can, because it's built into the Place 2D texture. So if I add, let's just go with 1, this is going to be insane. It's completely noisy. So if I just go into 0.01, that might still be too much. There's 0.01 on you as well. See how it's not perfectly circular anymore? There's like a very slight wobble to it. If I increase that slightly, you'll see the difference a little bit stronger. Do you see how that's not perfectly straight anymore? Neither is this one. It's obviously a lot straighter than what I've got, but zooming out on that, that would look more natural than a perfectly circular one. Obviously this is still too much though. So let's just go in and set you to 1, set you to 1, and let's just let that render for a second and see how it looks. Although we probably have to go more subtle. And what we can do as well, because it's just a circular amp, we can actually rotate it. So if we like the shapes we get, we can just move them around the eye, which is kind of cool. Let's try 0.5 in both of these. And that just prevents it from being a perfectly circular shape. Which actually looks like we might be, by sheer accident, might be pretty close on that. Because there's like an angle here. I don't know how well you guys see it in the stream, but it's like an angle here. Although we do need to get this brown spot in there, which we can't do with a circular ramp. So I might need to bake this ramp out. So I'm going to delete this, isocornea. I'm going to rename this to isocornea. And then I'm going to render the other eye as well. And then let's compare that to the previous render. So we got this one, I guess. Drag that all the way to the bottom. Cool. And see how that's just a bit more milky now? Also feels a bit more rich in the color. To me, that makes a massive difference. Again, night and day for me, personally. So we have to model the caruncle properly at some point. But that feels so much more alive to me. So much more alive. And at a distance that will read so much nicer. Pretty happy with that. So let's kill that. Our displacement is working by the things. But we need to now really emphasize those. Oh, we actually need some redness around the eye. Do we need it on this side? Yeah, we do. Okay, so we need a little bit of redness around the actual cornea, which is easy enough to add. So that's good enough for now. Let's bring Maya back onto this screen. Kill the hypershade. Bring you over there. Let's have an eye staring at me while I do all this. And then it's about to turn 10 o'clock, so I've got a little while to work on this. Oh, I also need to save Maya. So we're on version 93 now. Get in there in the numbers. I'm going to turn a light on in my room. There we go. So I'll quickly check what's going on here. Something that's making me really happy, and if he's watching it right now, that's amazing. But Victor Hugo Queiroz, he's someone I've looked up to for years and years and years, and he seems to be really interested in this project. Like, he really, really likes it. And that makes me so happy, because he's an artist who I've been following for years. Like, I learned some of my first texture, like, learning stuff. Like, Look Dev was a V-Ray course built around his, was it Nightcrawler? Yeah, Nightcrawler asset he made in V-Ray. I absolutely love it. And the fact he likes my work now is so amazing to me. Because obviously I know I'm not a beginner anymore, but at the same time I just see him as a completely different league. So the fact that he even enjoys what I make is in of itself more than I could hope for. Makes me very happy. Right, so we need to make these way more pronounced. So let's go into your eye redness, and we've got somewhere in here basic sclera. Sclera eye redness, iso veins. So now all we're going to do is just go in, and we need to pronounce these a lot more. So get a little bit more of a softness around it. Man, I really want to work in Look Dev at some point. Let's just pull that back a little bit. This is the sort of work that, obviously it is tedious, but I find it quite rewarding to do this sort of stuff. Alright, so that's a lot more defined now. So let's do this eye. It'll also feel a little bit more organic, although I do need to make it a lot redder. But let me check the renders on that actually. Yeah, it needs to be a lot more red. A lot more red. So let's just get this. This is the benefit of working procedurally or semi-procedurally using masks, is I can just change the redness of these now. I don't have to repaint anything. If anyone watching this is new to assets, which I say that a lot, and I'm pretty sure no one new is watching this, I'm 90% sure it's the same few people, which, as I have to say, thank you very much to everyone who keeps coming back. Workflow, Ian Harvey, Illusions. I'm sorry, I'm kind of concentrating on multiple things at the moment. But yeah, you guys know who you are. But thank you for coming back so often. It's really helping me kind of get started on this, because I feel like if there was no one who was consistent, it would be a lot harder for me to motivate myself to go forward in this stuff. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. It needs to be way smaller. So these might look super weird. They might also look fine, but let's get that redness. So vein color, literally just a case of going in and making this more saturated and making it a bit brighter. And now we've got redder veins. Literally that simple. If we want to change the size of the variation, then we can just do that. Which I think that is actually a lot better. Let's reduce the roughness. Okay, so next thing, we need a little bit more redness in the corners, I think. Yeah, we need a little bit more there. We need to get this brown in there, but I'm not too worried about that right now. Like, we will do that in this stream, but not too worried about doing it at this exact moment. I just need to get some blue in there. Because there's quite a lot of blue, quite strangely. In fact, yeah, let's add that now. So let's add a... There's an eye redness. So let's just move that back and create a merge. And let's just call this eye blue. Eye blue. Grab you. Cloud. Cool. And then we're just going to pick some nice blue colors, some nice blue tones. It's got to be subtle. It's got to be really subtle. That's way too much. This will be a little bit too purple. Let's shift that over towards blue. So those are almost identical colors now. So let's add a little bit of variation. Something like that might work. So I'm just going to go in and create a paint. Set to black. We've learned from our mistakes. ISO I blue. And all I want to do is get these super soft. I want to hide the other guy. That's what I do. That. So we've got that, and now I need to work the brownness into it. So how are we going to do that? I could test this and see how it's working. In fact, that's probably the best thing to do. So let's test this first. So I'm just going to go export flattened, export current channel flattened. We're going to call this eyes. Cool, that's kept its name. And we're just going to go into call, delete the Pt.16, or delete the text even. Save that. Go into Maya, Tools, Texture Manager, pick image. There we go, that's done its thing. So let's create a new IPR. Let's just see how much that stuff is held. So there's our previous render. No, that's the old one. For you up there. Cool. So we got that as a previous render. That little bit of blue is helping quite a lot. At least to my eyes. The veins are a lot better now. So I'm going to have to check the other eye with that as well. Let's just let that side refine for a little bit. Yeah, that's quite a big difference to me. The blue is just helping us get this right here. I'm actually getting pretty close on the colour. This needs to be more red, but that's getting us quite close. We need some redness on the inside. In fact, we kind of need... Are they liver spots? This side's super clean, but then it's super red on that side. So we're going to need to do a fair bit of stuff around the cornea. Let's drag that back over there and re-render this side. So now I can compare between the two. Yeah, so we need to get that redness now around the eye. That's really intense. Well, that's really intense, that redness there. I don't think it's a caustic thing, because it's not the same colour as this. May have to tone back the veins on this side. A bit too thick. Yeah, so we need a bit of redness there, a bit of redness there, a bit of extra blueness there for some reason. Lots of redness here. And then on the other side, where do we need redness? A little bit here. Not really much there. A lot more on the inside of the eye. A lot more there. What about the outside of the eye? Yeah, a lot more there too. What about this eye? Not much more on this side, I think. A little bit more, obviously, but not much. A fair bit more there. Okay, so we just need to be braver on the colours, basically. The eye textures are too boring at the moment. Displacement's too strong in the veins, I think. Shouldn't get a visible highlight like that. That's a bit too much. Let's get that redness sorted. I need a way to see no graph. Need a way to see the cornea. Why am I still affecting the blueness? Oh, that's the coal. Let's go back into that vein map, which is over here somewhere. No, it's actually after that. What am I thinking? ISO veins. So I need to pull you back quite a bit. I need to pull you back a fair bit. Then I need to thicken up down here. Blend that down. That would be better. I need to thin out quite a few of them as well, actually. Cool. That will work a bit better. Right, so redness. How are we going to figure this out? I could eyeball it. I swear to God that wasn't intentional. We got this as reference. We got that as reference. We know their positions are roughly correct. So let's just go in with a redness. And let's paint something over the top. So I'm going to save, close, archive version 4, save. I'm going to let that finish for a second. Let's go to the eye redness. Although I kind of want to separate this. But yeah, I'm going to separate this. So we've got eye redness. I'm just going to create a new merge. Come on. I just don't want to do that in one go. Let's create a new merge. Eye redness. Eye redness. Iris. Oh, I guess cornea is cornea. Connect that as the base. Connect that as the over. And then connect that to the base to there. Cool. And create a new paint node. And then we call this one ISO, and to keep consistent with the naming of the other paint node. Cool. And then just plug that in. Cool. So, roughly, we need this to be, so let's check analytics. Come on. We need this to be something like, there's so little left though if we do that. Something like that is roughly correct. And what about the other side? The other side's a bit more subtle, right? Yeah, so the other side I'm going to do edge it out over there and then leave the rest completely alone. And once we know if we've placed that right, we can do a bit more work. So current channel flattened. It's Maya. Tools. Texture manager. Got the eye. Reconvert. Fail to remove. Oh. Did that work? Cool. So, create an IPR. Feels a lot better to me. Oh, it's gone a bit too far over here. Need to pull that way back. What about the other eye? How's he doing? Getting there. I'm going to need to get that brown in there now. This stuff. Drinking more water. Once I've placed this liver spot, I'm gonna kick off a render. And that will be kind of the end of the stream. Still not sure how I want to do it, because technically what this is the cornea itself starting sooner in this area. I don't think it's the sclera being dyed. Although that can happen, so I guess it could be just placed. So there's a little bit of a line here still. So let's just do liver spot. So we're only going to affect that eye, so I don't need to worry too much. I'm just going to, I guess showing the other objects is going to help for this actually. So it'll be around here. So let's go into the node graph. And does it go over the veins? It does go over the veins. So I'm just going to create eye blue, eye veins. Let's create a merge. Plug you into the base. Plug you into there. What's the shader? Don't know why that's suddenly working. Anyway, so merge. So let's call this one eye liver spots. Create a cloud. As always, this one's going to be quite rough though. Put that in the over. I just need to find an eye color pretty similar to what we have. Need to get the variation that we want. It's quite a high frequency, it needs to be a little bit less rough. This needs to be a little bit less yellow, a little bit more saturated. And all we're going to do is create a paint. This one can be ISO liver spots, ISO eye liver spots. Plug you into there. And then I'm going to go in with the Brad brush, because this doesn't look like it's going to be smooth to me. Although, let's try it smooth. There's a little bit of a hint of one up here, although I'm not going to go with that. And let's just really break up that edge a little bit. Let's give this a go. Yeah, Brad's brush is pretty good for this. Something like that should be okay. I may need to reduce the overall strength of that effect. But let's keep it at full strength. Okay. Drag you over here again. Wow. We're gonna want to soften that, aren't we? Before we do that, let's just soften this guy out. Softening it will give it that subsurfacey look. Cool. So, export flattened. Cool. So let's go into Maya, Tools, Texture Manager, Reconvert. There we go. And let's just kick off another IPR with you. I have no idea if it's in the right place. Ooh, we're actually not far off. That's actually alright. I'm happy with that. It's not textural enough. It needs a lot more contrast. See how we got all this like micro breakup. But it's in the right place. Or maybe it's a little bit too long and not... It's not long enough because it's not going along this way far enough. And it's also going too deep. I think what I'm going to do is kill this. Come on. Kill the render overall. And I'm going to start an IPR. Save alt version. I'm not going to start an IPR, I'm going to start a preview render. And this will be our end of stream render. So I'm going to leave this going for like, well, I'm going to leave it going for the rest of the stream. I'm going to start groom planning. I'm not going to be grooming next week, but I mean, it's not exactly going to take long to plan this groom exactly, but let's go through kind of the thought process of starting a groom like this. So first off, the first thing we need to kind of find out, I mean maybe we're doing this too early, but we'll find out. So the first things we need to do are identify what grooms we need to begin with. So the most obvious ones we need, oh, that is set to not do interactive, sorry. I need to make sure it's progressive rendering. Just click on him. But yeah, so the first things we need to decide are, first off, how many grooms do we need? And what are the obvious grooms that we're going to need? So first off, eyebrows, eyelashes, those are simple enough. We know that those need to be separate grooms. We also need the peach fuzz, which you can see kind of on the cheeks in the high res ref. Obviously you need that anyway, but we can actually see it in this ref, which is great. We may need a second groom in the eyelashes for these crazy ones. We could do that with strays, obviously, but I think for the more control it's possible we do those. This stuff up here will be part of the eyebrow groom, not the peach fuzz groom, even though it is technically peach fuzz. I'm going to include it in that. There we go. Right, let's just start a set U to incremental, save scene. So preview render. Cool. But yeah, so we got the eyelashes, got the eyebrow, eyebrows, peach fuzz. We all know that. Other than that, though, we have also got the head hair groom, and that's where it starts to get tricky. So let's switch to the low res ref. There's quite a lot of different textures to it that are going to be really tricky to get. So the first thing we're going to notice is that we've got this baby hair at the front. You might not be able to see it very well, it's just this stuff. It's literally like 2 pixels, like 3-4 pixels. But it's very short hairs that are generally following the flow and are sat at the hairline. That's one groom, baby hair. Second groom, we got the braids, which are going to be part model, part groom. Haven't exactly decided how I'm going to do the models yet. I haven't exactly decided how I'm going to do the grooms yet either, to be honest, but I'm going to switch to this ref because it's a bit more helpful. So yeah, we'll have groom for the braids and models for the braids. We could separate each groom, each braid into its own groom. So braid 1, braid 2, braid 3. I don't think that'd be the good way to do it, to be honest, but maybe it's worth doing. But at very least we need a braid groom. So we got, for the head hair alone at the moment, we got baby hair and we've got the braids. Next one, we've got all the hair that's pulled tightly into the braids and is following these crazy triangles. That will need to be its own groom, because doing all of this in one groom is technically possible, but terrible idea. So these triangles are going to be their own groom. So this could be like third braid pull or something. I don't know what you'd call that. I'd have to think about that for a bit longer. But that would be its own groom. With parting maps and guide clumping probably. That would combine quite well with the baby hair to kind of separate out. We need the strays, which could be part of the individual grooms themselves. That would have to be decided on the go. We got this rolled part of the groom, which would need to be its own groom because it's nothing like any of these areas around it. And we need this ponytail thing as well. We probably would need a separate strays groom for this stuff down here. So for the head hair, we got the braid, the hair being pulled into the braid, the baby hair, possibly the strays, these rolls, this stuff at the back. So we got like 5-6 grooms for the head. Then you got the eyebrows, the eyelashes, and the peach fuzz on top of that. So you're looking at, for a groom like this, you're looking at about 8 separate fur systems in total, which is quite a lot. It's a lot more than you'd expect if you're new to this stuff. But it's really important that you do that. Although part of me does want to do this as a groom, just because it's so beautiful. I really, really love this aesthetic that she's got. The necklace is really nice, the clothes are really nice. I really, really love this image. I don't like the image as much as this one, which is why we made this one, but yeah. In terms of which grooms I do first, I'm going to be doing the eyelashes and the eyebrows first, just because they're quick wins, relatively speaking. I think the eyelashes will make the biggest difference because we have eyebrow textures which do well enough, but the eyelash textures are shit. We need to get rid of those. But yeah, so we need to do all that stuff. I still need to model the gums and the tongue before I get much further, because we do still have a good amount of modelling to do, to be honest. Primarily sculpting. We need to make sure we get these creases in. But yeah, I'm going to leave this render going for probably like over an hour. Let's compare this to what we had at the start. So this is the previous session, so let's put that down here. And this is the one that I did off stream. So that's today's progress. which I think is quite a nice change, and then that's the previous stream. So let's put these back to back. Over the course of the last stream, and obviously a little bit off stream, that's the difference we've got at the moment. I need to texture the gold stuff at some point. I think fixing the eyes is really a big one for this. That live spot's too big. I think the eye itself, the cornea, is still too small. Because we can see more stuff here than we can on this side. Like there's no white here, whereas here there is some white. So in the next stream we'll be probably quickly fixing the eyes, continuing the touches on those, doing a little bit more modeling. If I don't have the sculpt finished by the end of the next stream, I'll do quite a bit off stream just to catch up. And then we can kind of see how far we can get from there. But yeah, does anyone? There's currently 6 people viewing. Thank you everyone for coming, by the way. Do any of you have any questions at all, or anything that you want to chat about while I'm still waiting on this render? Because I'm ready to end the stream because I don't feel like I'll make much more progress during the stream. It's not that I'm burnt out. I'm just kind of at that point where it's death by 1,000 cuts on this at the moment, and I think we have made some good progress over the course of this stream. Primarily on texture fixes, but still good progress either way. Yeah, what do you guys think? What should we do or talk about? Or if you all just want to disappear, that's also fine. No one's disappeared yet as I'm saying this, but still. Love to hear what you guys think. Need to change this gold colour, it's far too yellow. That's something else that I changed off stream, is I made the gold a bit more yellow, but actually I kind of disagree with my own note now. I feel like this is closer than this. And at some point we need to define the freckles a bit better. We need to define all this stuff a bit better, actually. Maybe shadows feel too dark. What, on the left side of the head? If that's the case, yeah, I do have another light in the scene that I haven't turned on yet. So that's something I'll need to do. I mean, in general, the lighting isn't there yet. Like, I've just got, it's literally my old bathroom. Ultimately, we will be making everything a tiny bit more orange with lighting. We'll be making everything. I also need to check if this shadow here is lighting or eye color or shadows from the eyelashes, because the eyelashes do look dense there, so they might be blocking a bit of light. I know it's not light step, just observation. Yeah, no worries, man. It doesn't matter. Like, so a quick thing to make clear with anyone watching this: if you want to give notes, it doesn't matter if I'm at that stage or not. I'm more than happy to hear any notes you guys have. Hell, even if it gives me something to forward plan for, I'm completely happy with that. So don't worry about giving me notes that are at a stage I'm not. I feel like the eye specular is too bright. Right, this is too shiny. It's overpowering the iris a bit. Maybe that will help a fair bit. She's got like a Disney-esque look in mine. just because of how bright those highlights are. In fact, I might just change that now because it's quite an easy thing to change. So we just need to change that. At some point as well, we will need to make a specular texture map, because currently we have no specular variation. We don't have a grease layer on the skin, which we'll be making using a clear coat. We don't have anything like that, and that clear coat will really help bring out the details in the XYZ maps. It will really help a lot. It has to be very subtle, very well played, but still, like, it has to be there. Just give this a second to do its thing. We still need to model the caruncle. I need to stop putting off the caruncle modeling. I think the next 2 streams will be modeling. Because I still need to do the gums, the tongue, the caruncles properly, the depth of the ears, the creases above the eyes. Other than that, most of the model's working. Most of the model is working. It's not fully there, but there's refraction color. That's going to be an issue, isn't it? Okay. So that needs to be done in the shader. Let's create a multiply. Reflection gain. Let's set that to 0.6 is fine, yeah. That was a typo, but should be fine. Maybe the eyes need a gradient between the eyelid and the sclera, so it blends better. Does you mean like this like shelf thing it's got going on here? Like where it's like angled down? Because if so, yeah, that's something that would be really good to do. Thank you. Alright, save that scene. Kill you. Kill you. Kill you. Alright, let's start a new preview render. And while that goes, I'll save this scene, close it, and archive it as version 5. Cool, let's kill Mari. Looks like it's a lot better. Let that do its thing for a while. The lack of eyelashes really drives me slightly crazy. Tongue is going to help a lot because we get that little bit of redness behind it. Gum will barely do anything, but it will do something. It will just soften that top line. The teeth are really far off as well. I need to look into how the fuck you shade teeth. Yeah, grooming should begin within the next like I don't know, I think week and a half, because the thing is, I'll be grooming and look deving at the same time, I think. Like, not hair look deving, obviously, I'll probably just slap a black shader on there for a while. Or like a grey shader, and no, definitely not a grey shader, a black shader for a while, like a high melanin count or something. But I will continue to do texturing and look dev changes as we go. Probably even a few little model changes here or there. And thank you very much for saying it was cool. Very much appreciated. I think darkening the eye reflection may not have been enough. It's helped a bit. We can actually see the pupil now, but I think I've not gone far enough. I think I need to dim it even further. I think once we get the clear coat on there as well to do the grease layer, like just on the nose. Her skin is super clean, like there's very little grease on there, but we will get a little bit like on the eyelids, a little bit on the nose, basically the T-zone. And that will really help bring out some of those details that modelled in there. Really quite happy with the eyes, as in the eye material itself. I think having that blend is going to do a lot for us. It needs to be changed, because currently this is, like in this direction my mouse is moving right now, it's a lot shorter than what I've got. I think the iris itself is slightly too small, just a little bit too small. Yeah, I think so. So once I've fixed that, we should be a bit closer. What I really want to see actually, if I go into my images, progression images, why is that one so much closer? Yeah, it's cool to see it slowly improve. I still need to get like the old versions as well, the ones that were just sculpted. It kind of shows though how long the jewelry took, because it's like, you know, we've got ahead, and obviously this is like, you know, a few streams in. I think this is this is stream number 6. So we had 5 streams before this one. Just getting to this point, but then like jewelry takes ages, and then texturing, the skin displacement is pretty quick. Then a basic skin setup is there, and then obviously today's, like the look dev stage is a lot quicker than the modelling jewelry. That probably just speaks to my lack of experience with hard surface modelling, although to be fair, these are quite complex models. There is quite a lot to these guys. I didn't do them perfectly. There's quite a lot of injustice I did to them, to be honest, but it's weird seeing how much longer they took. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the stream, guys, just because we have hit the 3-hour mark now, and obviously I'm literally just waiting on the renders, nothing else. So yeah, I'm going to end the stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If not, as I always say, then you don't have to come back. It is up to you. Someone else just joined the stream. Whoever just joined, I apologise. The stream's about to end. But yeah, so I'm going to head off. I will be continuing the stream on what day is it today? Okay, I'll be continuing it on Tuesday. I think off stream, what I'll do, maybe I'll do a little bit of the modeling tweaks off stream, just because it is just detail sculpting. There's nothing really special about it. It's just, you know, back and forth modeling shapes, taking my textures out of Mari, putting those into ZBrush, at least the first unit, which luckily is the face, just matching the creases in the skin to it, and then that's it really. That's kind of where it ends. UVs won't be changing, so it should be pretty easy to change. So yeah, I'll probably do a bit of modeling off stream just to get a little bit further, just to kind of not waste your guys' time. And I do want to get the project finished because I am pretty happy with how this project is going so far, so I really want to get it done. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to stop babbling now. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back on Tuesday, guaranteed. Maybe I'll be back on Monday. Just to let you guys know in advance, next weekend I won't be able to stream on the Saturday just because I'm away. So what I'll do is I'll stream on the Monday and the Tuesday of that week, just to kind of make up for the lost stream. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, guys, and hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend as well. Bye, guys. Someone else just joined as well.